The Nokia 5230. With Nokia's release of this phone in 2009, it would be the very last time that Nokia dominated the worldwide market for cell phones. In 2009, Nokia sold 150 million units of the 5230. Apple, LG, and Samsung did not even come close, but it definitely wasn't all sunshine and roses. Not long after the release of this phone, Nokia would begin to face its decline in the cell phone market and would never get back to where Nokia was before. So why did this phone dominate the market in 2009, and what about this phone eventually led to Nokia's demise? Well, to answer that question, as you can see, I went to eBay and I bought a sealed Nokia 5230. And in this video, we're going to unbox this 15-year-old phone, look at some of the features, applications, and software that made this phone so successful. Now, two things. I think I got the international version of this, Telefonica. Attention. Unsure if that's going to matter much. And the second thing is, this thing is 15 years old. I'm unsure if it's even going to turn on, but I guess you'll have to stick around and find out. Also, fun fact, I'm recording this video from my newly redone studio. Really fancy studio, also known as a closet in my townhouse. I recently redid this massive studio I have, thanks to today's video sponsor, Black Zero. We'll get into that later in the video, but yeah, if you're thinking about starting YouTube and you don't have the resources or the money, guys, I started this channel with a cell phone, still on a cell phone, and I record most of my videos from a closet. I'm not joking. Look at the ground. This is what I record my videos in. I've got a box light, a stand for my phone that is hooked to this railing here, and I record my videos right here, at least most of my videos, right here, with this really fancy seat. Anyways, let's get back to the video. Alright, here we go. I don't know why paper-based stickers were invented. I'm so excited to see this phone. Oh, the red box? That's mean, dude. I love it. And the phone itself? Oh boy, it is small. I love this. Early 2000s, that was the era of small phones. Small phones were the coolest thing ever. Oh, I'm so excited to take a look at this. The interchangeable backs. 2009 was a different time. We even had headphones included with our phones. And the cell phone lanyard? What would an early 2000s phone be without these lanyards? And the manuals, oh man, let's not get started. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 manuals. Kind of like buying a car. And get ready, it came with not just a charger, but it also came with one of those removable batteries. Ooh, look at the holographic sticker on that thing. I love that. Which leads to our next question. Will the phone even turn on? The battery is 15 years old, and this thing has been cooped up in a box. Well, let's take the phone out of the packaging so we can install the battery. And man, this thing is so cute. Like I said, the small form factor is just from a different time. Huh, there's an extra button. That's a lock switch. I'll get into that in a minute. Once the battery cover's removed, I learned there's actually 2 SIM ports. It's a dual SIM phone from 2009. I love it. Moment of truth. Will this thing turn on? Oh. Okay, we're seeing power, and it, oh. I'm shocked. 15 years in a box, and it just turns on. Ooh, with a little chime. I mean, 15 years in a box, and this thing just turns on without having to be charged. Now, as I was going through setup here, this was difficult because I'm not seeing a United States option. Even when I do a hard search of UN, I do not see any options for the United States. Like I said, it's a different version. I guess that's why I can't find it. Eventually, I just chose a random country and then converted the language over to English, and I'm now in the phone and it's fully set up, at least most all of the way. I'm kind of thinking to myself, wow, this looks pretty basic, huh? Well, for 2009, there was a lot going on. Okay, Kanye West was like smacking Taylor Swift in the face at the VMAs. I was 15 years old doing the Harlem Shake in middle school. And like the 2008 housing crisis just happened and reached its peak in 2009. So people were a bit price conscious and you could get this phone for a freaking deal. You know, like I'll show you in a second, this phone did everything you needed for $150 to $200 USD. It fit the bill for everything. Like it did everything. But there were some things about this phone which eventually led to the demise of Nokia, kind of like Symbian OS and the Ovi store. So like, have any of you guys used a phone with resistive touch? Okay, so imagine using one of those ATM screens, right? Like, you press a button, but the screen doesn't register. You have to, like, press extra hard on the screen for it to register your touch, right? Well, that's what this phone has, is a resistive touch screen. So you could imagine it's not the easiest thing to navigate with, as you can see here? So as spoiled as we are in 2024, you could do things through Symbian OS like home screen customization, kind of like I'm doing here. Oh, look at that, a pink theme. Oh, look at that, a blue theme. The operating system also had a touch-responsive user interface, which was mostly responsive. You know, I can't stand this right now, but it worked. It worked. It was touch optimized. You also had these built-in applications. But by the way, I saw Facebook. Could we get Facebook to load? Let's see. Oh, I didn't even think about connecting to Wi-Fi. Okay, let's go into here and see if we can connect to Wi-Fi. I want to see if Facebook works, and I want to see if YouTube works as well, because there is a YouTube browser. Okay, yeah, I tried connecting to Wi-Fi, and this phone did not have Wi-Fi. As a budget-friendly option, it did not have Wi-Fi connection, which is odd, because with a 3GS, I'm most definitely able to connect to Wi-Fi. So it's interesting that this phone absolutely dominated the market with no Wi-Fi option. But I think internet browsing was a little bit new age in 2009, so it makes sense. I want to test the camera on this so bad. I know it's going to be a nostalgic experience. This might be funny to some of you, but when I was 15, I didn't have a phone. I was only allowed to borrow my mom's phone to text and call my friends. And man, was taking pictures on that flip phone a blast. So considering one of the only two things this phone could do is take photos and play games, let's take some photos. And before I do that, I want to share with you guys a current project I recently just finished for the studio that I record my videos in, at least most of my videos. I have an extra closet in our house, and I've been using it as an operating room for my YouTube videos. It's become a disgusting mess because I never clean it, so over the weekend I tore everything out and put it in a pile with the resolve to organize it, repaint it, and put some shelves into this room. One right here, well, leave this wall blank, and another shelf here. The hardest part was painting it. It took a couple hours, but the best part was today's sponsor, Black Zero Tools. They sent me their smart drill kit. It's 16.8 volts and charges with a USB-C type charge cable, and the battery's removable. I used the absolute heck out of this thing for what I'm about to show you. It also has a touch control screen to change the modes you're in. All I needed was a Phillips bit, but this will cover for any future projects I have. It also comes with an essential hand tool kit. I feel like I'm always losing my pliers. And the last box is loaded with a bunch of hardware for household projects, whether they're screws or drywall screws or similar. The best part is these all clip together into a singular toolbox and are really easy to store. Now, I'm very far from a handyman, but I will say these tools made it very easy for me to build these shelves before I hung them. There's several different modes for the drill, but I only stuck to two since I was only driving screws and drilling pilot holes to hang the shelves on. From start to finish, this probably took me a few hours. The longest part was waiting for the paint to dry. Thanks to the Black Zero cordless drill, I was actually able to blow through the building and hanging of these shelves pretty dang quick. Not bad, not bad. The easiest part was loading these shelves up with all of the junk that I've collected over the past couple years. I'm just glad I got this project done because I've been putting it off since we bought this house. If you guys want to buy this toolkit for yourself, I put a link in the description. I really enjoyed using Black Zero's tools and I recommend them if you guys want to try them out. Black Zero, thanks for sponsoring the video, and let's get back to it. Okay, so let's test out the camera. It's only 3 megapixels, so I'm not expecting too much, but I do like that there is a camera button to open the camera application. I feel like it told me it wanted a micro SD card, but when I tried to install it, it gave me an error, so I'm just going to try to take some photos. Now, what's odd with Symbian is even doing something like opening a photo, there's a lot of steps. And on older versions of Android and even iOS, to open a photo, it's not this difficult. And I mention this because Nokia, they had their own operating system, that being Symbian, and from 2009 to like 2011, they fell behind drastically because of Symbian OS. These photos are actually not that bad. Ooh, who's that handsome devil? You know what? We're gonna set this as the wallpaper. We have to. And doing that, there is a lot of steps. It's not as simple as it would be on Apple or Android in the current time. Again, it's not super difficult, but it is just a weird, kind of a clunky process to do something as simple as setting a wallpaper. Oh yeah. There we go. We got my face as a wallpaper. Nostalgia. This phone did so well because it did everything you needed a smartphone to do. It had the OV Store, which was Nokia's app store. It also had OV GPS, which looks like iOS's Safari, oddly. Oh, by the way, OV GPS did not need cellular to work, which is pretty cool. It also had text messaging, but let's talk about the Ovi Store. Now, the Ovi Store, they tried to expand, but it lacked development and integration, and eventually failed as a whole. So that was kind of a start to an end. I wanted to try to launch Ovi Maps, and for a minute, I thought that it was actually going to work. Like, GPS really wanted to work. You could see it was thinking hard here, but it would not launch. I've actually gotten my Galaxy Y to get GPS working, but for some reason, this phone, the Ovi Maps just doesn't want to. The GPS doesn't want to work for me. I actually think if I would have waited for a little longer, it would have worked. Because look, it could see my little bubble here. I feel like that's me, and if I gave it time, it would pull my location. But I finagled with this for about 5 minutes, and I couldn't get anything. But what is interesting is I actually found some games that I could play, and they're pretty limited games, and they also didn't have any sound, which is weird. Imagine Guitar Hero, but for DJs, and I don't know why the sound isn't playing. I closed the app, turned the volume all the way up, and then tried to launch again, but it just doesn't have any sound, which is very odd. I'm actually confident I could do a full video in just Symbian games. I bet I could get a bunch of Symbian games and just do a full video of Symbian gaming. You guys want to see that? Like, let me know. Let me know in the comments. But yeah, the phone today is really limited, but for 2009, this phone did everything that the consumer needed to for a budget price. And this is a 3G, not a 3GS, but you could see there was an absolutely clear difference from this phone to the iPhone. And it was because of Symbian software as well as Ovi that caused Nokia to have this major decline eventually leading to the partnership of Microsoft and Nokia and the Nokia Lumia, if you guys remember that era. It was this phone, the Nokia 5230, that was the last huge year that Nokia had with a standout device. It was the last time that Nokia would outperform everybody, and since then they've just kind of fallen behind, and they've always been there. They've always been reliable devices, but nothing like the 5230. That was the last huge year that they had. So, you know, cool phone. It's virtually unusable at this point, other than for maybe a music player and a vintage photo device, but it's so interesting to look at these devices and see how far we've gone. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like these videos, be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. See ya.